about this mythical person. And he's a good guy. But he's been called crazy. You know? He was called insane. This was back in the 1970s. Because he was this guy who believed in something that didn't exist. And that's a human retrovirus. Okay? He would go to meetings. I mean, you have to know a little bit about his history. Okay? He was the youngest branch chief in any laboratory ever at the NIH. I think he was like 12 years old, maybe. From a very early age, he was gifted, as the bishop was saying. And we're all gifted by his gifts. He had suffering in his life. He lost a sister to childhood leukemia. And it was a tremendous pain for he and his family. And we talked about the young antelopes. Well, you know, it's not bad to be a young antelope. And some of them don't make it, but some of them do. And so, and one of the things that we have to recognize is we have to open the doors, as we were talking about, to the young people and encourage them. So Dr. Gallo had this insane belief that somehow this elusive virus, I mean, the first retrovirus was discovered in 1908, okay, over 100 years ago. And there was a large search, a lot of money put into searching for this virus. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. And people had given up on the idea. It wasn't going to happen. It wasn't real. But this man had the capacity to walk through the gauntlet of disapproval by his peers and by his seniors. He had the courage to continue to believe that it was possible. And he discovered the first human retrovirus. It's a virus that causes leukemia. It causes leukemia in Cameroon. It causes leukemia in Nigeria and West Africa. This was a breakthrough. It was deserving of a great prize. But perhaps most importantly, it proved the concept that this elusive virus that couldn't exist, did exist. It takes courage to believe in something and then to translate that into discovery. And so that's what I want to emphasize. And I want to encourage each one of you to take that faith and that belief forward. It takes faith in yourself to go forward. But he didn't stop with just this discovery of the leukemia virus. He then went on and taught the French how to do the test to discover a retrovirus. The Nobel recipient, Barry Sinisi, was a laboratory technician who came from France to his laboratory and learned the techniques. She got the Nobel Prize. The discoverer didn't. Now, I'm just going to say that outright. It's wrong, but politics sometimes gets in the way of truth. Okay, I'm just going to speak the truth here. And so Bob is sorry about that. Okay, now, the next thing you don't know is that not only did he discover the blood test, which has saved millions and millions of lives, it's become the most important public health tool we have, he also laid the foundations for the first therapy for HIV. And this even began before the discovery of HIV, when he did experiments with animal viruses and showed that you could use certain kinds of drugs to stop this kind of virus. And he set up the techniques in the laboratory that allowed this proof of concept. Because at that time, just like no one believed that you could have a human retrovirus, no one believed that you could treat viruses with drugs. We could treat bacteria, you could treat strep throat, but no one could treat a virus. And he overcame that barrier. And so a lot of this discovery was built upon foundational research that he did. Another great discovery, a compound called IL-2. It's a growth factor. It's now a major cancer therapy. It was something he used as a tool to discover the retrovirus, but now it's a great cancer therapy. He discovered how the virus gets into the cell, and he discovered compounds that could block that could hold the key ultimately to the cure. And so you have to understand that science starts with basic discovery, and then it's translated into the benefit of people. We're now challenged, and the BKN Foundation, I think, is a great beacon of hope. And the reason it's a beacon of hope, it's not this massive, big foundation, but it's an African foundation. It's an African foundation that is helping Africa. We have right now in our hands the ability to stop this epidemic. We can stop this epidemic with the therapies that are available. But where are the governments? Where are the African governments in this? Most of the money that's coming to stop this epidemic is coming from the US and some other countries. But we need the African governments to step up and take their resources and bring these resources to the people. We can stop this, but we have to make that therapy available. And one of the things that the foundation is doing is that it's stopping the next generation. These children that we didn't get to hear from, but I've heard them myself in my own work in Africa, are children who would be prostitutes or street boys, and they would be getting the virus and spreading it to others. And so we're preventing this through the education and the outreach. Now this foundation can't treat every person, but as the bishop pointed out, we have to touch one soul at a time. And so what's very magical about this evening is that we're getting to meet each other. We're getting to meet each other person to person. Each one of us has been given a purpose, as the bishop said in the prayer. Each one of us has to give back as we're called to. Some are given gifts like Dr. Gallo. Some are given opportunities to work with Dr. Gallo like myself. But each one of us has been touched because we've been here tonight for this moment to hear about these children and to support this foundation and to support the research and the rollout and to be advocates for our people, to go back and demand that the resources are made available to solve this problem. So it's my pleasure to just give this little background on Dr. Gallo so that you can appreciate him as a person. He's a person who is dedicated, is strong, is unwavering in his dedication to research and to belief that science can have an impact. And finally, one of his crazy ideas, let's have a global virus network, because viruses are the great threat to mankind. We've seen with Ebola how it just, one case coming in the US and all the devastation that's going on in Sierra Leone and Liberia and any country where that virus is showing up. And so the Global Virus Network is an outgrowth of Dr. Gallo's experience. There was no organized response to HIV when it showed up, when the AIDS epidemic occurred. There were major universities in this country that would not allow the scientists to bring specimens from AIDS patients into the laboratories. It took people of courage. We didn't know if you could get this from touching that virus or those specimens. And it took someone of courage to say, I'm going to step up. It wasn't because there was some great reward or that we appreciated that this was going to be such a great epidemic. It was just dedication. But we need an organized response. We need the scientists to be there. We need them connected to each other. And so the Global Virus Network is Dr. Gallo and creation of two other scientists to bring together scientists from around the world, with expertise in different viruses to be mobilized to meet the challenges of Ebola, for example. Ebola, there's a vaccine already. In fact, Dr. Gallo has been involved in helping to promote the development of this vaccine. One of the things that I would ask our government is, we created this vaccine. Why isn't it available now? It's been around for a few years. Well, it's, again, a failure of government leadership to translate discovery into practical terms. And now they're rushing to do clinical trials. Why didn't we do this 5 years ago when the vaccine was first developed? So we all have to hold each other accountable, and we have to hold our leaders accountable and make sure that science and policy and politics work together to solve problems before they become problems. And we're very fortunate to have someone like Dr. Gallo who is willing to take on the science and the policy and confront with an unwavering belief how to address these issues. So thank you, Dr. Gallo, for all that you've done.